Hi everybody, here we're going to go over the procedure for how to do this centripetal lab experiment. So first, when you download this Excel file, don't forget you put your student ID here, and you have your instructions here. There's three parts. Part A, and that corresponds to here, Part A. Part B, this corresponds to this one over here, and then Part C corresponds to over here. So when you load up the Excel file, click on this link here, and this website should load up. And let's just look at the different components. You can change the mass of the thing that you're going to swing this ball around in a circle. So what you can do is you can change a couple of things. You can change its mass. You can see here that's the biggest value, and then this is going to be the smallest value of the orbiting mass. You can click on this tab to change the radius of the orbit. And you can also change the amount of mass that's being hung, or the hanging mass here, by just the number of washers. So you read the instructions to find out what the mass of one individual washer is. And so you're just going to modify the mass of the thing that's orbiting, the radius of orbit, and also the mass of these washers. And you're going to use that to calculate how much time it's going to take to make a certain amount of revolutions. So here then in the Excel file, so first thing you do is you're going to read the instructions, calculate the mass of the, well, you'll read the instructions here. It'll tell you what you're supposed to set the mass of the bob is, the thing that's orbiting. So the mass of the orbiting bob, so here it's 93. So I'll put 93 here. So don't forget to convert that to SI. And you're also going to get the radius, and it tells you right there, R min. So you're going to have to set the radius to the minimum value. I recommend that you try this a couple of times to make sure that it keeps on going to the minimum value here. I don't know if I said max a little while ago, but I meant minimum. So make sure that the radius goes to the minimum value. And next, you're going to also, you can calculate the mass of that's hanging. So that's the number of washers multiplied by the mass of one washer. So you're going to have to read the instructions to see how many washers you're going to need for this first trial. So in this case here, 20 washers times the mass of one washer. I'm not going to give you the mass, but I'll let you read the instructions to see. It's going to tell you there. So let's just say that it's, just make up a number, 600. Let's say that the radius here is what? Let me just pick a radius. Well, that looks like about 115 maybe. So that's going to be the minimum, the radius here. Just don't forget to convert to SI and pick your units. And so the way the experiment works is that you're going to set these values, and then you're going to start the experiment, and you want to measure the time for 25 for this thing to cycle around 25 times. So here then the number of revolutions is going to be 25, and you just have to count how long is it going to take for this thing to revolve 25 times. So whatever your best estimate is, and you'll pause it. So you'll put that number here, and then you're going to repeat this 2 more times. And once you're done with that, then you're going to calculate the period of oscillation using this formula here. And then you're going to calculate, that's going to be for each of the 3 trials. So you'll calculate them here. And next, you're going to get the average period. You'll calculate that here. And then you're going to get the velocity for the bob, the orbit. And that's going to be defined by this equation here. And then you're going to use that to calculate the centripetal force. And that's going to go over here. And you see that you got their formulas listed here. And next, you also want to calculate the weight of the hanging mass. And you're going to put that here. And then you're just going to calculate the percent difference between the centripetal force and the hanging mass. And that's going to go on section number 5. And then you'll use this formula to calculate the error in the centripetal force. Part B, you're just going to modify. So you're either, so I'll just say, so between part B and part C, you're just going to repeat what you did for part A, but you're going to modify one of the parameters. So you see here it says varying mass. So you're going to change the mass of, so if you reset here, so part B you'll reset, and you're going to change the mass of the bob to, let's call it a bob, to a different value, and you're going to repeat the experiment. And also, I believe in part B also, you're going to change the number of washers, and then you repeat the experiment. And then part C, so you're just going to repeat the experiment. And in part C, here it says varying radius. So in part C, then you're going to change the radius to a new value, whatever it says. Actually, it says maximum. So just double check that it goes all the way to the maximum value, because sometimes it goes a little short and then it goes back. But just double check that it always goes back to the same maximum value, and then you can use that one. And then you're just going to repeat it for that new, new radius. So really, it's that part A. Once you do part A, you're just going to repeat it for part B and C, but for part B, you're going to change the mass, and in part C, you're going to change the radius. And that's going to complete the experiment for the centripetal force measurements.